Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and Portrait of a Lady on Fire is a masterful French language, slow burn, romantic period drama. It was written and directed by Céline Sciamma and it won this year's Best Screenplay at the Cannes Film Festival as well as the Queer Palm. It was also a very high favorite for the main prize, the Palme d'Or. But that went to Parasite by Bong Joon-ho in the end. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is set on an isolated island in Brittany at the end of the 18th century and tells the story of two young women. The whole film is told through the perspective of the young painter Marianne, played by Noémie Malone. So much so that it's already in the past and she's remembering all of it and telling it to her students as well as to the audience. Instead of the title appearing on screen at the beginning, it's her who is saying it out loudly and thus leading us into it. Without giving away what it is, her story also ends with two little epilogues almost, and this structure and way of presenting the events of the film is just one example of the impeccable form filmmaker Sciamma is able to craft. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is precise, sharp. Every camera angle, every move, every word of dialogue is chosen with the utmost care, which not only fits the time the film is set in perfectly with its strict rules, it also slowly unfolds or ignites the love between our two protagonists as this incredibly beautiful cinematic pleasure. Marianne is obliged to paint a wedding portrait of the young woman Heloise, played by Adèle Haenel, who is soon to be married to a guy she has never even met before. But the only way for Marianne to paint the picture is in secret, because Heloise wouldn't allow it to happen otherwise. Sciamma as the writer and director and Marianne as the teller of her own story beautifully prolong the first encounter with Heloise. First, with a lot of effort, Marianne has to arrive on the small island. She then gets first information about the woman, first by the young housekeeper Sophie, played by Luana Bachrami, then by Heloise's mother, played by Valerie Golino, who you might remember from the two Hot Shots movies. We also learn that Heloise's sister threw herself off of a cliffside and that it's her ex-fiancé Heloise is supposed to marry. Still, before we actually see Heloise for the very first time, we believe we are about to see her when the camera is closely following someone in a lavish green dress, before it's being revealed that it's just Sophie carrying that dress. When the real Heloise finally enters the frame, it's still just from behind as Marianne is following her outside and up until the cliff where she might also jump off of. It's only then that we finally see her face. But this is just one long anticipated moment in a film that so carefully builds to each and every little step in their relationship. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is about two women falling in love, and both Noémie Malone and Adèle Haenel are spellbinding. This is a film that's extremely slow, but it's also a film that doesn't waste a single scene. Everything is laid out in front of us for a reason. Every little nuance is leading somewhere. And of course it takes quite some time until the very first touch, until the very first kiss, or even until the very first time we see Heloise smile. The weight of her upcoming marriage is clearly visible in her face as well as her behavior. The powerlessness of those social constructs and liabilities deny her the freedom to live the life she wants to lead and to explore her own self. But with the arrival of Marianne, there suddenly is this new human being in her life and they slowly get closer. They slowly embrace the chance and also the pleasure and the gift of love. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is a love story and it's a film that passionately unfolds all the life-changing, explosive, maybe even earth-shattering, wonderful and bittersweet things that come with being in love. Even more so if it's a love that's forbidden, a love that's of very limited time because both women knew it can't last. And through the structure of the film with Marianne telling this story, we of course also know from the beginning that this won't have a classic happy ending. Yet the way this love is explored, how these two women find each other, but also how they and the young housekeeper Sophie form this close bond or even friendship is really heartfelt and rewarding. All three come from different social backgrounds, but they treat each other as equals, or at least without any disparagement. It is all done in such a delicate manner. It's sophisticated, it's sensual, it's even a bit funny at moments, and overall joyful as well as melancholic and bittersweet. And on top of that, it's a very powerful female-centric story and approach. Apart from some very minor instances, men don't even appear in the film. It features incredible performances by all actresses. The camera work by Claire Mathon is outstanding, and the screenplay and direction by Céline Sciamma absolutely sublime. There's also almost no score. There is some music, but it's coming from the scenes. Be it Marianne playing on the piano for Eloise, which is such an important link to a later moment, or the a cappella singings by a group of women at the fireplace. Besides the strong narrative link of the music, I think this very reduced and poignant use also points to the limited pleasures of people in that time and how much more special it must have been. You couldn't just put on headphones and listen to anything you like. Music was very rare, especially big orchestral concerts, and this limitation and the curiosity and anticipation go back to the feeling of love. Eloise has never been to a big concert, and she also asks Marianne what it is like to be in love. And even without music, Portrait of a Lady on Fire is able to create its own rhythm that stems from the staging, framings and editing. It's a truly marvelous film that I'm sure will spark a light in you as well. So in German I'd say, Porträt einer jungen Frau in Flammen ist ein unglaublich präziser, bildgewaltiger und umwerfend inszenierter und gespielter Film, der ganz klar zu den besten des Jahres gehört. I give Portrait of a Lady on Fire 8 out of 10. It's more like 8.2. But I don't do that.
Quel en est le titre? Portrait de la jeune fille en feu.
Alright, that's it. Like always, comment below and let me know what you think about Portrait of a Lady on Fire. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd simply at @JimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.